When you see recyclable household waste being crushed up in the collection lorry, do you wonder how it can possibly be separated into usable, recycled commodities? Some residents of Welcombe, a village in the Torridge district of Devon, asked if this was really practical and how it can be done without sending most of it to landfill. Steve Hadley of Coastal Recycling, who deal with Torridge District's household recyclable waste, invited us down to their recycling waste facility near Exeter. And this is what we found. Here is the transport lorry bringing in the recyclable waste that is to be processed from the Resource Recovery Facility collection depot at Deepmoor near Torrington, which handles 85,000 tonnes of household and commercial waste a year. The lorry backs into the covered deposit area to unload, and a hydraulic ram at the front of the trailer gradually pushes all the waste out of the back. The Torridge curbside collection vehicles keep all the glass separate from the rest of the household waste, and the glass is stored and sold straight from Deepmoor to various glass recycling specialists. Apart from the glass, everything else, plastic bottles and bags, metal tins and aluminium cans and cardboard and paper, are all ready to be changed from waste to a resource. The wheeled loader tries to keep the mixed waste together as it's unloaded from the transport trailer. It then loads it into the top of the collection hopper with its extending bucket and claw gram. During this messy business, some material can get spilt and dirty unwashed recyclable waste will start to smell. During maintenance periods, machinery is inspected and overspills cleared, but please keep your recycling as clean as possible. From the bottom of the hopper, the waste is slowly fed into a large, fast-turning bag splitter drum, which is behind the square-ribbed metal shield with its drive motor above. From there, it's fed onto an inclined conveyor belt that takes it up to the elevated sorting level above the collection bins, where the sorted material is dropped through chutes to the separate holding areas. And here's the access to the sorting levels. The rotating bag splitter drum has broken open any bags or clumps of material with fast-moving and static knives, and it spreads it evenly onto the bottom of the inclined conveyor belt. So, here's the top of the incline, and this is the first sorting stage where large bits of card and heavy cardboard are removed by hand and dropped down the chutes to the holding area below. Coastal Recycling do pay more than the minimum wage to their employees and have a high staff retention rate. From the top gantry, the resource baling machine can be seen. Below the gantry, the conveyor belt is taking the recycling from its first hand sort to remove cardboard onwards to the ballistic separator. This machine vibrates the recycling resources at an incline, making heavier materials like tins and plastic bottles fall down and off the bottom end, whilst lighter materials like paper are lifted and vibrated up and off the top end of the separator. These people are sorting the paper that has come off the top, and they're checking and removing anything that's unwanted and taking out any very light plastics, which are dropped down to a bin. Sorted paper falls off the end of the conveyor belt onto the paper holding area. The ballistic separator comes at a cost of £160,000, but it does an amazing job. Watch some of the pieces of paper on the right get vibrated up the incline. But it is quite noisy. This is without the sound turned down. The heavier materials like tins and plastic bottles vibrate off the bottom of the separator and go along the conveyor on the left to another one that takes it behind the separator to yet another inclined conveyor. At the bottom of this incline, that's covered just inside is an electromagnetic belt that lifts off all the ferrous metals, leaving the rest to go to the top of the conveyor where it all drops into the eddy current separator. This sorts the aluminium from the plastic. Now watch the red and white alloy container get caught in the current and spin off. It drops in now, goes along, and there it spins. This is due to the rotating magnets on the end giving kinetic energy to conductive materials, making them fall away further instead of just drop off like the unconductive plastics. This gives a closer view of the paper sorting and where the electromagnetic belt is situated, and also the inclined belt to the eddy current separator behind the guy with the turquoise shirt. After the alloy metals are taken off, what's left is checked over for mist or unwanted materials, leaving just plastics that whiz off on the fast and last conveyor belt under the optical sorter. The bins beside the sorters collect sorted material that is reintegrated with its same type of resource. The plastics are taken under a Titech optical sorter that uses laser technology to identify each container as to its type and whether it's clear, coloured or opaque, like milk containers, and also where it is positioned on the conveyor. This information is transferred here to an air gun that has nozzles positioned across the end of the conveyor belt, pointing up and out, just where the plastic drops off. If a container is made of clear or coloured plastic, it just falls off the end into a hopper. If it's opaque, the air gun, knowing the position where that plastic will drop off, gives it a small blast of air to take it over and into the opaque plastic's hopper. The optical sorter can be programmed to recognise other different plastic types if required. Once all the resources are separated out, the wheeled loader takes them from their holding bins to the baling machine. This crushes them into large cubes, binds them with wire, and pushes them through an opening into the outside yard. Here they are, ready to be picked up and stacked. Bales can weigh about 650 to 700 kilograms. That's about 3/4 of a tonne. This is mainly paper and of course cardboard. Prices for commodities can fluctuate wildly from hardly anything up to £300 a bale. Much of this is sold to Asian and Chinese companies keen for paper and metal resources. Here at Coastal Recycling, they can recycle 95% of all resources that are brought in. Landfill tax charges are set at over £82 per tonne at the moment, which means 60 tonnes of waste that would have cost nearly £5,000 to bury is reduced to just £240. To make up a tonne of clear plastic PET containers like drinking water bottles will take about 29,000 bottles, which are seemingly readily available. This is all that's left as the 5% residue, which are the pieces of waste that have dropped through the ballistic separator. So of course it's worth recycling. We can all do our bit to help at the point of collection as well, by putting out glass separately from other recycling, clean off food from recyclable material. Wax card containers like Tetra Pak are only taken at local recycling depots. And here's a tip. Small items like tin lids often fall out into the residue, so put them inside the cleaned out tin and squash the tin a bit to hold them all in. Every bit of recycling adds up, saving our environment and saving us all a whole heap of money. Thank you.